We have our own place in life and our language. That's who we are. And that is the thing that was handed down to us. And yes, it means a great deal, so much so that I would only have parts of me, because language is such a big part of me, and without it, that part would be missing. I wouldn't be whole. I wouldn't be complete. And no one should be incomplete. So it means so much to me that I need to be able to not only use it regularly, I find it in my world to be a part of teaching it, sharing it, passing it on. It isn't just me, it's my people, it's my grandchildren, it's my children, it's my friends and relatives. Yeah, it's big, enormous.
It means everything. I wouldn't know who I was without it. It brings me closer to the land. It makes me think of my ancestors, and to make them proud. I mean, to live in a good way and have them smile and laugh, and that's what language and culture. It's pretty great. Yeah, that's what it means. Present moment, we're trending up. Yep, we're going a lot of new learners. People are interested. Community members are wanting to learn. They want to go. Our Salish conference is getting bigger. So yeah, I think it's going great. We are losing elders though every day. So today is important as ever. Tomorrow is important as ever. And so we got to make sure that we get this quality time with our elders. Well, we got them.
Language really is part of that first identifier, recognizing where you come from, what group you're a part of, and that even if we're all, like I said, wearing the same kind of clothes, we're listening to the same kind of music, we're practicing all these other cultural pieces that maybe are kind of more mainstream, that as soon as you hear Inkailuchin, the time that I start saying, what? Kina soha, hasquest, people recognize like, oh, that's different. Okay, where are you from, And then we just tell them, we're from here. This is the language of this land, and then that gets kind of the conversation going about like, oh, all right, like there is this reservoir of culture that already pre-exists and that is still active.
Kuen khamenshke khia amisike khia pkhek sia pkheni khotke in the Welshon, Nick Odkstueu, Yelsiat Cascatelu, Cax Odkstuek, Xiat Wilshire, Kain, Conquelton, what Cats Seafood.
You know, there's this idea that like, oh, Indian people are frozen in time at the moment of contact, and so anything new is inauthentic. But I mean, that's just not true, because people think horse culture is deeply authentic, and that's relatively new, especially for like Lakes people who got horses pretty late, because horses aren't that useful in the mountains. And so, yeah, that's just what I think about, is that, you know, there are people who are like, they're pretty opposed to just new things, whereas I'm pretty excited for our Bitterroot farm on Mars. How is Salish happening right now? Right now, it's mainly happening between adults. And so, you know, like, we run this school, but the burden isn't on the kids that they're going to be the new fluent speakers who are going to change things. The burden is on all of us staff who work there. And so, you know, people like me who already have kids, we're playing catch up. But there's a whole group of people who are in their early 20s who work there who, you know, like, when I had my first kid, like, I knew like that much Salish, you know, and they haven't had any kids yet, and they know like this much Salish. And so it's that group that I'm like, oh, like, they're really going to be able to parent in the language when they have kids. And so that's when we'll get a restart in intergenerational transmission and really see people who, oh, how'd you learn Salish? Well, I just grew up with it. My parents, that's what they raised me in. And so getting back to that is going to be really exciting.
Growing up, we weren't exposed to the language as much because of that generational trauma that our parents experienced when they went to residential school. And so they felt it was more important that we learn English, and we weren't taught as much as the language as we could have been, because my mother talked about being 10 years old and going to residential school and being only fluent in her language. My grandmother had a relative teach my mother English before she went to the residential school. She knew that if my mother went speaking only her Insultan language, she would be punished for speaking only her language. So my parents chose not to teach us the language, and we're building on that today and wanting to learn more about our language and preserving it, because we also know that it's endangered of being lost. And spending time with my mother, she used to say that it's important that we learn whatever we can about the language. And so picking up, when I was younger, a few words here and there and saying them, using them in our daily life was all important. And now, as a grandmother myself, building on that, so that my grandchildren are exposed to it, my children, and sharing that within our family and preserving it for sure.
There is a long and really healthy and really strong legacy in history. And tough times came, and some pretty rotten things happened. But already we are recovering from that. The strength of people to come through those times. People have actually brought the language forward through those times, which is astounding. The strength, the commitment it took to hold on to it and bring it into the present moment. And then folks who like strategically didn't teach their kids the language. We can view that as loss, or somehow as those elders and ancestors as victims. Or we can change that narrative and say they were being strategic. They made moves to take care of their children, to take care of their family. And that might have meant not passing on the language for a time. And others brought the language forward so that as we recover from that ugly time, we can bring the language back. We can kind of strategically make another intelligent, strategic move with agency and say, it's time to bring the language back.
You look like a Native American.
Lemlem, yun na. Yeah, I am. Nek ko na. Besides seeing everybody, I would say the Salish karaoke. It is just a blast. We're a tight little knit that we go for it every year, and we really enjoy each other. We love seeing what they're gonna do, what we're gonna do, and it's great bonding, and we get to see some really great acts. So yeah, Salish karaoke.
Was last night your first time doing the karaoke?
Yes, karaoke. I did a talent show the year before with Space Oddity from David Bowie, but yesterday was the first karaoke.
What was your inspiration?
The elders or teachers took me mayhem and the kids now like trying to inspire them with some music. And music has a lot of power, like the elders said.
Oh, it's the people that I meet, from old friends and some new ones, you know, that, yeah, it's getting bigger, I think, and we see more people. Well, it's our language, and that's who we are, I guess, you know. If without it, we wouldn't know who we are, you know. So it's just who we are, I guess.
Christi hi actually kuch ulu sut in Himinki hi lut you was being to lut kwak al nach hi chnechel who's me bemithno with kuch ulu to kwak al hi kwam. I really like the conference because it gives us a chance to gather, and all of us working on language, doing different things. We don't really get to chit-chat so much. So the conference gives us the time to come together and kind of celebrate that hard work that we do all year, you know. I love Salish because I am, because it's me. I've told this story before when I was a keynote, but it fills a place in you that you don't know is missing. Actually, earlier someone was explaining it as the glue. It's the glue that holds us together as a Native person. A lot of times if you're out there trying to search and fill this hole, and you're going to fill it with drugs, or you're going to fill it with alcohol or abuse, but when you find language, your heart is full of such goodness that you don't even need that anymore. You're healing yourself and you're healing your future generations, and you didn't even know it. It's just powerful, it's changing, and I didn't go searching for it. I didn't plan to learn the language. It found me, and it's changed my life. For me, for my son, for my great-granddaughter, and yeah, just it's me. It's me. Salish is me.
Do your best. It is yours. You have a right to it. All these things. I mean, if you're looking for it, then you've answered your own questions. If you're finding it, then you've achieved your own goals. It is not about somebody to encourage you. It is yours. Go get it.
Pumpkin, watch the wheel. I think you can eat this country. Why would they go Allah? He'll come pull out 10. Woodstock cooking feed. Cooks in when they got Jimmy sing. Me up Holstein. Sentaste foi vá, do Twiki Manuel Escolas Voos, do Daxen Caio na minha quina, a gente continua a os jogos. Quando a face de coach, postão, hoje vai tirar a pressão, depois de tudo junto com a lei, a do ninho que não pula com. Good stuff cooking here. Cooks and Quillica. Why not Jimmy Sting? Me as Wilson. Why not Jimmy Sting? Me as Wilson. The incompatible. The incompatible. Howdy, y'all. Boy Cash. Yeah, you squeeze time out now. It's Cash. Tonight we will be singing I Sweet to Me. When we're done, we're hooked out.